to another movie review here on T Watches a Scary Movie. My name is T, and we're talking scary movies. Today, I am discussing Pearl, the prequel to the 2022 smash hit X. And if you haven't heard of X, why the hell haven't you now? It is the best horror film of the year right now. And yeah, I know, we still have a few months left in the year. We still got some bangers coming out this year as well too. But as of right now, X is still locked into place as my number one. And yeah, you can check out my review if you click the link above. Make sure to listen in on that one. There's no spoilers in it. We try to keep that light, the 10-year rule and everything. But I should say, if you have not seen X, then you don't want to listen to or watch this review either, because this review will have some spoilers for X. It's kind of hard to discuss Pearl without breaking some spoilers that are in X as well. So stop watching, stop listening if you care about spoilers and want to leave X a mystery, as you should, because it's an amazing, amazing film. So we found out not long after the release of X that director and writer Ty West had also simultaneously shot a prequel for the film that focused around the killer of X, Pearl. Hence the title of the movie we're talking tonight, Pearl. I'm going to say that a lot. But Ty West secretly went and shot the prequel to this film so he could still use the same sets as he was using in the first film. And it's an ingenious choice. It's an inexpensive choice, which pretty much guarantees that they can save a budget and the movie will get released the way that it should. Now, if you have seen X, you know what that's about. A group of pornographic actors and filmmakers venture out to a farm in Texas to shoot what will hopefully be the cutting edge of pornography coming to the United States. And unfortunately, this group of actors and filmmakers runs afoul of the owners of the farm, Pearl and Howard, who seemingly go on to dispatch the majority of them, leaving only our one survivor, MaXXXine, played by Mia Goth. Pearl is also played by Mia Goth, and this prequel was going to leave us wondering, okay, are we going to go back and see how Howard and Pearl started doing this? Because it is alluded to in X that the events of that film are not the first time that this couple have gone and murdered a bunch of people for their own impulsive desires now. But we had no clue whether or not this was going to form another slasher flick, because that's what X really is, or if this was going to be something completely different. I definitely walked in expecting something different than what we got. I knew we weren't going to get a slasher movie. It wouldn't really make sense, because if this is going to be the origin story of Pearl, she can't really start off being a slasher. It can't work the same way that the first movie did. But I was pleasantly surprised by what we ended up actually getting here, because there was a lot of heart and soul into this. And quite honestly, I'm more in love with Mia Goth's performance as Pearl in this than I was as Max in X. And that's crazy, knowing now that we are, yes folks, we are getting a third movie titled MaXXXine that's going to be coming soon. Amazing, absolutely amazing. Ty West, you fucking rock for just wanting to give us a trilogy, at least right now, a trilogy, a new franchise, when we are lacking in, honest to God, great horror franchises since the year 2000. So kudos to you, Ty West and Mia Goth, for trying to bring that to us here. So, while Pearl focused really on, X focused really on the character of Max, who was trying to get the life that she does deserve, and starring in this porn was going to be her big break. This is going to move to make her this big star. All the money, the glamorous lights, the fashion, the fortune, everything that comes with having your name up there. Pearl actually kind of tells us the same kind of story, because if you recall, if you have not watched my casting call video for the audition for MaXXXine, or you haven't watched X recently, there's various exchanges between Pearl and Max throughout X that hint that, Pearl obviously wants that life that Max is trying to live, that she doesn't deserve it, that the two of them are very, very much the same, whether it be in the things they're willing to do to get what they want, or going for the people that they want, or acting on their desires. Whatever the case is, it was alluded to that Pearl and Max are very much the same. And Pearl definitely goes out of its way to hammer that point in, because as we're introduced to Pearl in glorious Technicolor audio and visual, which, folks, if you're a film buff, if you love the old school Technicolor films, I'm talking things like Oklahoma and The Sound of Music and The Wizard of Oz, you're gonna absolutely love the way this movie looks and feels. It is absolutely fantastic. It would fit in perfectly with a movie back in the, the 20s, the 30s, whatever. Now it's so good. It's so good. But we're introduced to Pearl, who is living on the same farm that we know we're going to in X, who's living with her mother, Ruth, played by Tandy Wright, as well as her father, who is paralyzed and very, I don't know the proper term for it, but Pearl dreams of having a life greater than what she has. Basically, her family is kind of confined to this farm as the Spanish flu is currently going around. And then on top of that, Pearl's parents are German immigrants. And as this is set in 1918, we're in the middle of World War I. Obviously, advertising that you're a German living in America, especially in Texas, is probably not the safest idea. So Pearl unfortunately doesn't have much in the way of friends, doesn't have much in the way of acquaintances. She has the farm animals around her homestead, and she has Howard, but unfortunately Howard is off fighting overseas in World War I. So we're seeing that she's given occasional visits by Howard's sister Mitzi, played by Emma Jenkins Purro. Now, this is the start of the cracks we begin to see in Pearl, because unlike Max, who was already on her way to building this life that she wanted for herself, nobody's controlling her when we see her. With Pearl, it's very much different. She's in charge of doing a lot of the chores around this farm to take care of not only her father, but the house and the farm itself, feeding the animals, cleaning things up, washing her dad, feeding her dad, going into town to get medicine for her father. And we can see that while Pearl loves her family, she loves her parents, she just has greater ambition in her life. And it's when Mitzi reveals to Pearl that there's an upcoming audition for a part in a chorus line for a traveling church show that Pearl sees that as a possible way of escaping her predicament. And that's just one of many ways, as that's a recurring theme throughout this film, is that Pearl is looking for numerous ways to escape the life that she's in. She does not want to leave a life that she does not deserve. And this shows the burning resentment between Pearl and her mother, as well as her father as well too. As Pearl takes a trip into town one day, she goes to check out a movie playing at the local cinema. She meets a young projectionist there that encourages her to live the life that she wants, to go out and live it before it's too late, because you only get one crack at it. And there's clearly some temptation there, other than trying to live the life that she wants, because Pearl is very lonely. Again, she doesn't have any friends or acquaintances that she really gets to spend any time to, and her mother's strict rules that keeps her family safe, unfortunately, are having an adverse psychological effect on Pearl. And we can see this film is definitely about generational trauma as well too, because Ruth is very clearly not living the life that she wanted to live either. You know, she probably had these great dreams and had all these desires to go and live just this fruitful, plentiful life, doing all these amazing things, but instead she's stuck on this farm caring for her husband, who can't do anything for himself at all. And as sad as it is to say, it's a question of, while there is love, that both Pearl and Ruth are waiting for Pearl's father just to die so they can have some kind of normalcy in their lives. And this begins to drive an even deeper wedge between Pearl and her mother, as they love each other. They absolutely very clearly love each other. But Ruth putting all this responsibility, warranted or not, onto Pearl, and Pearl being resentful for it, is building that anger. It's building building this alternate reality that Pearl lives in. And we see that alternate reality that she lives in because she very much engages with the farm animals living on their farm, and unfortunately for some of them, not in the best way at all. We see that she has this somewhat symbiotic relationship with Theta the alligator, who we now get a name for. Now, you may not remember Theta the alligator, but you would if you've seen X, because unfortunately Theta dispatched many a people in her time, I'm sure. But we see that all is not right with Pearl, and unfortunately, we also know that we can't be the only ones who are aware of this, that the cracks are starting to form, and people are beginning to see the issues that are coming out around her. As her mom even warns her that chasing these dreams of dancing in a chorus line is foolish, that abandoning her family for her dreams is selfish, it's not helpful to anybody else at all, and that we all have to push our dreams aside at one point or another to help somebody else out. And this definitely brings Pearl and her mother to a head later on in the film. Now, Mia Goth is absolutely the anchor of this small cast. X definitely had a few more names in it. It was a bit of a larger cast to it. Not a large cast, but much larger than Pearl was. It felt a little bit greater in scope, I guess is the way to kind of put it out there. Pearl is definitely very secluded, and we're supposed to feel that way, I think, to get the idea of how she's feeling, that nobody really exists in her life outside of this very, very small circle. So when temptation is sent her way, it's hard not to just go right for it. It's hard not to want to give in to this temptation. And Mia Goth is just amazing. She gives what should absolutely be an Oscar-nominated performance, and hopefully the Academy is looking at some more horror this year. Don't tell me about The Shape of Water. I don't give two shits about The Shape of Water, but Mia Goth absolutely needs to be recognized for this. Don't think she should win. Y'all know who the queen is. Michelle Yeoh should absolutely be taking home that Oscar next year, but Mia Goth should absolutely be in the conversation. There's two very much standout scenes in it, which anybody that has seen Pearl absolutely knows the ones that I'm talking about. The dance sequence, which is one of the best musical sequences I have seen in a non-musical since Richard Kelly's Southland Tales, with all these things that I've done. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. Whether you like the movie or not, that sequence is incredibly powerful. But Pearl's dance sequence in this is so grand. It's so amazing. Gives us another glimpse at the reality that Pearl is living in. And then the immediate aftermath is completely justified from everything that Pearl is doing in this musical number. And that also leads us to an absolutely award-winning monologue from Mia Goth, where she just lays it all out on the line, just in a confession of how she's feeling and what she's gone through in her life and what she wants and how she just wants everything to be okay. It is an amazing, powerful performance, and considering that Mia Goth has had so many people to play off of between these two films and does a great job between these two characters, it's almost heartbreaking. It is heartbreaking to hear this monologue that she does and just the emotional waves that are coming off from it. It's just absolutely amazing. Now again, Pearl is not a slasher, but there are some gruesome deaths in it for sure. And I think these deaths actually kind of hit a little bit harder because there is more of an emotional impact behind it. X very much allows us to distance ourselves from all the deaths because while yeah, there's a little bit of emotional connection to some of those characters, but it's still very minute. It's a slasher. And slashers are there to give us a lot of victims that we may or may not care for that much. We're scared because they're getting killed, but we don't necessarily care that much when they're dispatched. Whereas here in Pearl, every death hurts. Every death is important. Every death absolutely, it means something. It builds Pearl's world more and more and more. And I didn't expect that because again, these are two completely different movies, but yet the deaths in Pearl moved me in a way that X hasn't. And again, X is the best movie of the year for me. It really is. But these deaths in Pearls were more impactful. They were more meaningful than I think X could ever hope to have. And again, it just draws the line even more, or draws the connection even more between Pearl and Max, to where like that final standoff between the two and the end of X, you know, the funny scene that I did that audition for, it makes it even more important because Pearl really is seeing more of Max than Max can realize. Max just sees it one way right now, but there's a big picture that really needs to be looked at. And I'm excited to see where that goes in the third movie, because yes, as I mentioned to y'all last week, it has been revealed that a third movie is in the works titled MaXXXine, that'll deal with Max moving to Los Angeles in the 80s and going through the VHS craze. And I have to assume it has to be focused again on porn, as that has been a running theme throughout this series. You know, in X, it was about Max being the star of this big porn that her and her friends are all trying to make, that's going to be cutting edge. And in Pearl, part of Pearl's escape is being introduced to this projectionist who shows her what's cutting edge in Europe, a porno, and how if those pictures can be brought to the United States, that you could corner the market and it could be this big thing. And 60 years later in X, we see it happening. So if a few years later in MaXXXine, this is really going to be the focus of the film, maybe we're going to see that Max is trying to kill a few people to get the dreams and the life that she wants. Who knows? But you absolutely have to go and see Pearl. It is worth seeing in theaters. It'll be fantastic at home. It'll be absolutely fantastic at home. But folks, I didn't see X in theaters, and I absolutely regret not doing that. That will not be happening with MaXXXine when that comes out. You have to go see Pearl in theater right now. It's absolutely worth it. It is an experience, folks. It's an absolute experience, and you're definitely going to get the blood that you're looking for in this one, too. So, go check it out. Pearl is in theaters right now, and here's my audition video for MaXXXine for you. Have a good laugh.
Where are the keys to the truck? He's having a heart attack. I don't give a shit. Where are the fucking keys? In the kitchen, under the lamp. You gonna rot when people find out what you've done. What I've done. What about you? You don't think I know what you are? I saw what you did in the barn, you deviant little whore! We're the same. You'll end up just like me. I'm nothing like you! You're a kidnapping, murdering sex fiend! I'm a fucking star! The whole world is gonna know my name! I will not accept a life I do not deserve!
Hey everybody, I appreciate you checking out this video, whether it was a review, whether it was a new episode, whether it was an unboxing, an interview, or whatever else. I want to remind you, you can check out my separate reviews also on my YouTube page, and new full episodes go up every Wednesday night on YouTube at 8:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, and on your favorite podcasting platforms at 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, like and share. My name is T. We've been talking scary movies. Stay scared.